प्रेलीनाण्डानां कोटय पृथक् तदक्षरं गुणातीतं नमाम्यहम् महाध्यानाभ्यासं विदधतमजस्रं भगवत पवित्रे सम्प्राप्तं स्थितिमतिवरैकान्तिकवृषे सदानन्दं सारं परमहरिवार्ताव्यसनिनं गुणातीतानन्दं मुनिवरमहं नौमि सततम्. સ્વામિનારાયણ હરે. પ્રથમ તો સર્વે સંકલ્પને પડતા મૂકીને એકાગ્ર ચિત્તે થઈને શ્રીજી મહારાજ પુરુષોત્તમને સંભાળીને એમ ધારવું જે સ્વામી વાતો કરે છે ને આપણે સાંભળીએ છીએ તે પ્રમાણે સાંભળવી અને પોતાના અંતરમાં તપાસ કરતા જવું અને કહ્યું છે તેમ સમજીને વર્તવું. અનાદિ મૂળ અક્ષરમૂર્તિ શ્રી ગુણાતીતાનંદ સ્વામીએ વાત કરી. પ્રકરણ 12માની 208મી વાત છે. સત્શાસ્ત્રનું વ્યસન. 207મી વાત છે. હા, 207. બોટાદમાં માત્રા દાદલની ડોશીએ થાળી વેચીને મોટાભાઈ જે સચ્ચિદાનંદ સ્વામી તેને રાબ આપી. તેથી મહારાજ બહુ રાજી થયા અને ભગવદીના આ દેહે કરીને એ સેવા થઈ કે વચને કરીને જે ભલું મનવીએ તે સારું છે, પણ ઈર્ષા, અદેખાઈ અને માન તે ભગવાનના ભક્ત સાથે ન કરવું. Chapter 12, the talk number 207. In Botad, the mother of Matra Dadal, she sold a plate, and from money that came, she made the food for Sachidanand Swami. And that Maharaj became very happy about that. And he said that with this body, if we do the seva of a Bhagavadi, or by talk, if we say good things about him, that is a very good thing. But by jealousy and by ego, we should not do it with the devotee of God. Sajanand Swami Maharaj ni jai.
Right? So Swami is giving one incidence that in Botad there was a devotee by the name Matra Dadal, and his wife sold the dish to collect the money and made a food for Sachidanand Swami. And Sachidanand Swami was elder brother. So when Swaminarayan Bhagavan heard that, he became very pleased. So the message here is that sometimes we have to think out of the box, out of our routines. And the routine was that in this incidence, normally people will not sell their possession to feed a sadhu, a saint. I mean, they would say, okay, this is what I have, so this is what I will give you, whatever I have, In Gujarati, It is said that જેવું દેહને એવું દેવને. If I am not eating well, then the offering to God is also not well. But that is not thinking out of box. આપણે જ્યારે ખરેખર લોટરી લગાડવી હોય, કોઈ મોટો ફાયદો લેવો હોય, ત્યારે કંઈક મોટી વાત વિચારવી પડે, મોટી વાત સમજવી પડે. હા, નહીં લગતી. લોટરી નહીં લગતી. We don't win the lottery. Lottery is an example, you know. Sometimes Bhagwan has said not to play lottery, so कैसे लगेगी? लॉटरी. शंकर भाई बोलते हैं लॉटरी मीन्स चली गई, छोड़ो लॉटरी, forget about lottery. Just the example, you know. But the point is, you know, that normally our thinking is that whatever is within our capacity, we will try to do it within our capacity. And it is normal, it is okay, you know. But to get a special lift, unusual, you know, gain, then we have to do something out of the box. આપણે કંઈક એવું અસાધારણ વિચારવું પડે, અસાધારણ કંઈક કરવું પડે કે જેને લઈને મોટા પુરુષ રાજી થઈ જાય. કાકાજી સાથેનો અમારો બી એવો સંબંધ ને એવા પ્રસંગને લઈને એવી કંઈક અસાધારણ સેવાઓ થઈ ગઈ. When I first had met Kakaji, it was from my wife's connection, you know. She was the disciple of Kakaji. But when Kakaji was trying to come from New York to Elkhart, Indiana by Greyhound bus, and I offered that I will buy the plane ticket rather than coming in the bus for 24 hours of bus journey, you know, not worth for a master like you, for a, you know, such a great saint like you. I had met only once, you know. But that was done. It was His grace again that it was done, you know. But that made a big difference, you know, big change, you know. And sometimes I remember our Melanie, you know, that Bhavna Ben, and they met in which airport? Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, right? Yeah. I mean, they did not know each other. They were standing in line, and she had a mala or something, you know, and Bhavna Ben thought she is a Hare Ram, Hare Krishna devotee maybe. And from that talk, Bhavna Ben gave the address of our function, Maitri Milan Mahotsav in Powai in 2009, December. In January 2010, I think, yeah. So, I mean, she was on a business trip or something, right? But she found the address, she took the trains and buses and taxis and came to the function where we were doing Mahapuja. Vasibai was doing Mahapuja, you know. And then in that Mahapuja, she saw everybody putting 1 rupees, 10 rupees, you know, of, you know, seva, you know. She did not have change, you know, she had like $100 bill. And she put it there, you know. Somebody saw that, you know. I wasn't there, I did not see, but I heard, you know, right? So, something has happened by, you know, her, and because of that, you know, she is still in our satsang and our company, you know. So, we have to think out of box, We have to think something beyond our thinking and capacity. There are some other examples also, that people do their seva, and people go out of their way, and when they see things changing their life, then they realize that they have done something, out of the box, I remember when we started our satsang here, back in 87, 88, 89 time frame, And then Pankaj Bhai and Harsha Ben came in touch through Pratap Bhai, I think, right? Pratap Ben are contact here. Right. 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 And Kakaji came from London's contact, that Daksha Ben's mother. Kakaji would call her as his own mother, and would visit London when Kakaji would go there, and then came here, and first contact was in 1977 that Daksha Ben's husband and Pankaj Bhai and others started that vegetarian restaurant, Satkar, But at that time, Pankaj Bhai was working as an industrial engineer in cassette manufacturing company, they make those cassettes, recording cassettes, And we had met Pankaj Bhai, but, for about 10 years, it went dormant, Pankaj Bhai was busy in his business and all that, But then in 1987, 88 time frame, again, Pankaj Bhai came in our satsang contact, and we started the activities. And back in 91, 92 time frame, Pankaj Bhai's all family members started joining the satsang. And Pankaj Bhai was doing extraordinary, work to bring all of them in the satsang, Amara Ashok Bhai, and Surendra Bhai, and Sunil Bhai, and all that. Vasant Bhai, and yeah. And with that extraordinary seva, हमारा बसी बहनों फोन लागे पेरिस थी जय स्वामीनारायण अरे वसी भाई जय स्वामीनारायण so हाँ बस महापूजाનું ફાઇનલ કન્ક્લુઝન ચાલે છે યસ ના પિન્ટુભાઈને આપું એક મિનિટ આપું હા હાજી તમારે મહાપૂજાનું કાલે રાખ્યું છે બહુ સરસ હા 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 તમને ઈમેલ કરી દે હા એટલે તમારે પેલા પિક્ચર સાથે જોઈએ છે હા ઓકે હા મારા અંકુરને ઈમેલ કરી દેશે પિન્ટુભાઈ હાજી હા જરૂર 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 હાજી જો બધા હરિભક્તો અહીં બી તમને જય સોમનારાયણ કરે બધા હરિભક્તો જય સોમનારાયણ જય સોમનારાયણ उनकी मदर की लंदन के घर से लंदन उनके मदर के घर से हुई थी हाँ उधर काका जी जाते थे हाँ काका जी उधर जाते थे हाँ दक्षाबेन उधर बड़ी लॉयर थी उस टाइम पे लॉयर का था ना તમે ત્યાં લોયર તરીકે હતા ને કે બેંકમાં હતા ને શી વોઝ ઇન ધી બેંક યા હે ઓ ફિલ્મ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી then bank okay but somehow what I'm saying that Pankaj Bhai has done extraordinary seva in the satsang that lot of family members have come and joined in the satsang not only here but in India and everywhere now that requires a lot of talking and glorifying the mahima of our satsang. Now he is new, he was new in the satsang, but he liked, he got convinced, and his style became, a system that made this thing happen. So he has earned a lot of good deeds, એમનો પુણ્ય અકાઉન્ટ બહુ ભારે દેખાય, So these kind of things, extraordinary things, makes us totally shining out difference. So this devotee, Matra Dhadal, his wife did this extraordinary thing, and she sold the plate, metal plate, like it may be like, તાંબુ હશે, copper, or not ચાંદી, ચાંદી તો બહુ મોંઘી કહેવાય. Right, કાંસુ, brass plate or copper plate or something, and she got some money. From that money, she made the food for a saint, Sachidanand Swami Mata, But what happened is that the news went to Swaminarayan Bhagavan, and he was very pleased. So Gunatitanand Swami says that by our this body, if we can serve the devotee of God, or if we speak nicely to a devotee of God, that is the greatest thing. But on the other hand, we do it the opposite. We use jealousy, we use ego, we use negative, things towards the devotee of God. And that we should not do. That is what Swamiji's, Gunatitanand Swami's message is, And there is the negative trait within us. Everybody has somewhat trait, But when we feel that way, we want to make sure that we don't want to use that negative trait, Now, negative trait is not absolutely negative, It has some other positive also, But if we don't know the positive, then don't use it, Yesterday, Shankar Bhai and I were talking about, some of these, negative traits, And there is positivity in negative traits also, Gunatitanand Swami has said in Swami Vato, dosh. Our negative traits, is there any positivity in our negative thinking, our negative habits, Somebody becomes the victim of lust, somebody becomes the victim of anger, somebody becomes the victim of greed and ego and jealousy, etc. But is there any positivity in that? And Gunatitanand Swami says, there is some positivity also, right? It's very rare to find positivity in there, right? But that positivity is for the devotee of God. And what is that positivity? That if somebody has a lust and has done something wrong, then he will repent. And he will feel sorry that I have done this wrong. And he will still remain in satsang, And he will remain in satsang as a human, as a humble, person, that I am not as good as, the others, that who have transcended this negative forces, Our, Raju Bhai, he gets mad and angry, sometimes, right? And equally, our Kush bhi, and then they have Mahabharat at home. And shouting a lot, One night about 11 o'clock, I got a phone call from his wife, Smita Ben. So I thought that she rarely calls me, She rarely calls me, So must be something, interesting that. And there was background fight going on, And she says that, can you do something, please, Now I am in walking and they are in disciplines, Only master key is, done. But it cooled down, Over phone, I was amazed, that it worked, by done, But then he repents, right? That I want to get rid of my anger, And then Pankaj Bhai was his guru, Says that you do fasting, and anger will go away. Chala chan. He did one fast, Pankaj Bhai has said 2. So 50% may be gone, right? So he is looking, the other 50% not done, and you are thinking other 50% that you have done. So you have to decide, But 2 in a row. Yeah. See? અમે બી ગુસ્સો કાઢવા માટે પંકજભાઈ ટ્રાય કરશે. નીકળે તો ઠીક છે, ના નીકળે તો ઠીક નહીં. ના ના, હું તો ખાલી હસવાની વાત કરું છું. પણ we have those negative traits, within us. But if we use that for being humble and for being, more into the satsang, then they are helping. But for the outside of the satsang, anger is bad.
Anger is bad anywhere.
Huh?
Anger is bad anywhere.
Okay.
Satsang or outside satsang.
Yeah.
You have to know the reason and just fight that reason.
Right.
Correct it.
Right.
It will give you a lot of problems.
Yeah. That's why I'm not angry, so I won't have problems.
I am whoever.
Yeah, I know. When you say you, I have to take it to me, And I'm not upset, I take it as a positive, that I have to work also. But what I'm saying is, that all these negative traits, they have their values if we use them in a right way, That's the message, But here, Swami is saying that we should get rid of all these negativities, jealousy and stubbornness and ego and all that, And especially we should not do that with the devotee of God, With the devotee of God, we should say sorry if something has done. We should ask for forgiveness, And then that thing gets clear, So we want to practice that, Did we read the other one? That was the one, right?
સજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય. પ્રકરણ 12, 208મી વાત. સત્શાસ્ત્રનું વ્યસન, નિષ્ઠા, આજ્ઞા અને સૃહદપણું એ 4 વાના વૃદ્ધિ પામવાના છે. અને માન વિનાની ભક્તિ કરે તો મોટા બહુ રાજી થાય, ને માન હોય ને ટોકે તો મરડાઈ જાય. માટે વિચાર કરવો છે, મારે પંચ વિષયમાંથી શાની વાસના બળવાન છે, એમ અંતરમાં તપાસ કરવો અને હૈયામાં ભગવાનને ધારવા. Chapter 12, talk number 208. When we have an addiction of reading the good shastras, the scriptures, then we have a conviction in God, and we follow His orders, His commandments, and we have the harmony with other people. These four things would progress us in satsang. When we do any kind of devotional projects, when we do any kind of devotional actions, and there should not be any ego in that, then the Satpurus would be very happy on us and he would be pleased. When we have ego, and maybe we don't know about it, but when somebody says something or rebukes to us, then we would be very unhappy and we would go into depression. So we should think about what out of the five senses, which one is bothering us. And when we introspect upon that, and then we think about it, and we take the, when we have God in our heart, then they would come out. Sajanand Swami Maharaj Ni Jai.
Before I go on this talk, I remember one more thing I was going to talk about from our satsang. That our Sapan Bhai, he has, that choice and selection, that he does extraordinary things, out of the box, Yeah. And I remember, that about 5-6 years ago or so, that our Alok Singh brought one of his friend, that Rajesh Bhai Oja, right? That he had a habit of drinking heavily, And he was very talented and he had a very nice job. But because of his bad drinking habit, he lost everything, And he had like 3 kids. And his wife was very desperate, So Alok Singh thought that I can maybe do something and help him. So he told me to meet with this Rajesh Bhai, and we went to his home, and he sat down, on the floor and held my feet and said, please help me. I have a bad habit of drinking, I want to get rid of it, and things like that, And I was also surprised, that I have met him first time, and he is so humble, and so, wanting to get rid of that, And then we said, okay, you come to our satsang and join our satsang, and we will pray for you, and we hope things would happen in your favor, And then he had no job, and he had a big mortgage payment for his house, and his kids were going to school, college, so a lot of expenses. So then I went to India during December, January time frame. Sapan Bhai, in his company, there was no need for a job. He hired him and gave him a job. And do some, whatever, small work, medium work, whatever, and paid him, at least so he has income, and he has, no difficulty getting food, And then he also, tried to give him advice for certain other things that he can also manage, getting driver license back and all that, So when I came back, and when I heard that, that he has given a job to him, just because, a small comment I may have made, in satsang, that is, in a way, thinking out of box, And then it did not work out with him. Rajesh Bhai was creating problem in this company, and then he had to, let him go. And then he was staying with our mandir also, right? Discipline mandir, on D Road, Rajesh Bhai, Yeah. And all bhayo, they were really doing out of way, helping him out, But I think finally now he has quit, He is not drinking, and we hope that he gets a, good person and good citizen, But the thing is, what Sapan Bhai did, that was something, out of box thinking, And then for our Meena Masi also, that she was trying to get a green card, and our Kusumben's brother-in-law lost his wife, and so we made a marriage arrangement with, Ghanshyam uncle and Meena Masi, and it was not in her luck that just couple of days before the interview, Ghanshyam Bhai passed away. And I knew, that there was a reason why that happened. I don't know how to say, but there is always a reason when we have impure attitude and impure thinking, then divinity does not allow that to happen. So, but then, the case was just gone, But then when, Sapan Bhai and maybe who was else? Vandan Bhai, they found out that maybe she can apply, for a green card.
Took help of that congresswoman.
Right. Even though, Ghanshyam uncle was, he passed away, they can apply back, which they did, and now she has a green card, Right.
She got green card.
Yeah. Now that is something, very special, Not only that, but now she is about 65, 66 years old. And in order to get the social security benefits, she has to work here for 40 quarters, 10 years, And he is doing that, he is helping. So by the time she may be like 74, she would qualify, So these are the things, that Swami is saying, that doing something out of our normal routine is to please the God and Gunatit saints, That's the whole message, So now the next one, 208. There are 4 things that Swami is saying will grow our soul in spirituality. સત્સંગમાં વધવાના વૃદ્ધિ પામવાનો 4 વસ્તુઓ ગુણાતીતાનંદ સ્વામીએ બતાવી છે. First one is to have the addiction of reading spiritual books, scriptures. We all have liking to read things, But in the morning, first thing in the morning, how many of the whole world reads the newspaper versus the, scriptures? Newspaper is the first addiction, And newspaper has all negative news, So, Yogi Ji Maharaj used to call newspaper as atwad. When you eat in a plate, and that plate is a throwaway plate, that is like a newspaper that you eat or you digest or you read all these bad things, which is already, been done. But we somehow, like it. So, but Gunatitanand Swami says that if we have a habit of reading good positive scriptures, spiritual scriptures, holy books, then our soul will progress, our soul will grow. Number 2 is we have a firm faith in God and His saints, nishtha. Third thing is to follow the command of the God and Gunatit saints. Then the 4th thing is to have the heartfelt oneness with the devotees. These are the 4 things that will make us grow spiritually. And when we do the devotion without the ego, that person would be a person that lot of Gunatit saints would be very happy about that kind of seva, But if somebody has ego And if somebody will criticize about that ego, then that person will just quit the satsang and go away. That person will be, unhappy and leave the valuable satsang. So, Gunatitanand Swami says that we have to value the two. Is my ego more valuable or is satsang more valuable? Right? And if we think that ego is more valuable, then we are a loser. But if we think that the satsang is more valuable, then we should work on our ego. And even somebody is criticizing us in the satsang, we don't let it go. When the criticism comes, we can look at two ways. One way is that even I am not at fault, why are you doing this to me? Why are you criticizing me, right? That's one thought. But the other thought is that Yogi Bapa has said, that hamara ketla mota bhagya. How fortunate I am that even without my fault, you are giving me bhajiyu. Making me aware of future problem if that is going to come up. You are my best friend, you are my best buddy. These are two ways we can think. But normally we don't think the second way easily. But if we think that way, then we will grow. That is what Swami is saying. So we should think that my ego is coming from 5 sense gratifications. Shankar Bhain, I was talking yesterday also, that most of the roots and traits are from ego. Even lust is from ego, anger is from ego, and greed is from ego also. If you go very deep, because that is the powerful force, right? In Gita also they have explained all those steps, So, Swami is saying that out of these 5 sense gratification, which one is more powerful that I should get rid of? The seeing, the hearing, the touching, the smelling and tasting, And we should keep searching within ourselves. And at the same time, we should pray to God, that I want to get rid of that, I want to elevate out of that. મારે આ પંચ વિષય જોઈએ નહીં. આ પંચ વિષયમાંથી મારે બહાર નીકળી જવું છે. પંચ વિષયની જે કંઈ વાસના છે એ મારે કાઢી નાખવી છે અને ભગવાનને હૃદયમાં ધારવા છે. પંચ વિષયને હૃદયમાં ધારવા નથી. Whatever we like, we keep in our heart, right? If somebody likes, nice food, like pizza. But when we find out that pizza is bad for our health, then we get rid of it. So, when we are awakened like that, when we are alert like that, then we would be growing and progressing. So, this is for everybody, For our 6-7 years old Narayan and James to think that way, and our 106-year-old mother, Anybody who thinks that which one is bothering me, I want to get rid of, we have to work on that, I mean, I really remember, that when we were doing Ekadashi last time, on the day before Ekadashi, I was talking on our morning sabha and Narayan was at our home, and he was listening, So on Ekadashi, he was at home in downtown and he's told his mom, that I want to do Nirjala Ekadashi. So she says, what happened? Why? So he says that I want to get rid of my bad habits. Because that's what Dinkar Dada said, that if you want to get rid of your bad habits, you have to do Ekadashi. Nirjala. Yeah, so I wasn't sure, what are these bad habits. So I asked Amy, I said, did you ask what were the bad habits? She says, no. But Angie knew. He's biting fingers, fingernails. And then it bleeds, sometimes. So he wants to get rid of that. But at least there is an awareness, there is a recognition, and there is a plan. That's what we want to work at. We have to first recognize, out of this panch vishay, which one is bothering me, which one is keeping me away from God. Then next step, that how do I get rid of that? And then follow up that it does not come back. So these are the steps. That is what Swami is saying. And the most powerful part is that if we can replace that bad thought. But what do we fill our heart with then? Some another bad thought again? Or bad our habit? No. We want to fill that back with God. We want to keep God in our heart. And we want to get rid of the other things, other than God. So that's what Swami is saying. I think we have time for lunch now. It's about that time. Chalo. Sejanand Swami Maharaj ni jai. Anybody has any question? Koine ke puch?
No, I have a little statement in the line.
Sure. Haji. Or Poonam Ben has something to say. Some good advice.